Hi, guys. Welcome, and thank you for joining me today. I've talked with quite a few people over the years. I've used my 200 words out of a day. It might be 10,000 for a woman, but I use my 200 words a day. And one thing that keeps popping up, one thing I keep experiencing as I talk with people, is people don't appreciate themselves. They don't like themselves. They feel bad about who they are. They feel bad about what they do. They lack the ability to love themselves in a healthy manner. And they start feeling ashamed. They start feeling that they're not enough. They start feeling that they're just not good enough, cool enough. They feel that there's nothing that they can do to earn what they need. And I used to struggle with the exact same thing. I used to struggle with thinking that, I'm not cool enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not fit enough. I used to think that, I don't measure up. I used to think that I'll always be on the outside just because of who I am. I used to think I was really just too stupid to be involved. And today, I want to talk about a healthy self-love. This is one of the building blocks to being able to love others. Jesus says in Mark 12:31, also in Matthew 22:39, that we are to love others as we love ourselves. We have to have a big as in there, because without a big as, if we don't love ourselves, there's no loving anyone else as we love ourselves. So this is one of the biggest deficits, I think, that's gone under the radar for countless years. Even though we have more understanding and more knowledge about depression and unhappiness, this issue of, referring to myself, this issue I experienced of me not healthy, not living myself in a healthy manner, it led to a lot of heartache, it led to a lot of wounds, and I'm still healing from some of them. Some of them are healed fairly well now, but when I started learning how to love myself in a healthy manner, I started down a new path of being able to love others, being able to empathize with others, being able to help others and reveal to them areas that they might need to heal. And it works kind of like a fuel delivery system in a car. You have a fuel tank, you have a fuel pump, then you have an engine. And let's just change fuel, change it over to love, and say that, I have a love tank, and I am the fuel pump, and other people are the engine. So I have to take the fuel or the love that I have in my tank, and I have to run it through my fuel pump, run it through me, so that I can give it to others, so that they can be empowered. And that's what healthy self-love does, is it allows me to draw from a full tank of love. And healthy self-love is not selfish. It's not looking out for numero uno. It's not trying to get all I can and then canning all I get and then sitting on my can. Healthy self-love at its core is about me making sure that I am full enough, brimming over. It's like an investment that is just exponentially growing. It's growing so quickly that this investment of love I'm talking about in my tank, it's growing, and it pretty much just spills over onto other people. I have an excess of love because I am filled up, because my tank is filled up, so I can give love to other people. And this also ties into play with what Jesus tells us as to treat others the way that you want to be treated. How many of you know that if I am burning the candle down to where there's no wax left, and I'm going through the motions of giving love, of lighting that candle, of burning that candle, there's nothing there, then the other people that I'm trying to give love to, they're not going to experience love. It's just something that doesn't work. It's very frustrating. It's very discouraging. It also works the same way, referring back to that fuel delivery system. If that fuel pump, if I, as the fuel pump, keep trying to give out something that I don't have, then eventually that fuel pump, eventually I'm going to burn out. I'm just not going to be able to function anymore. And so today we're going to look at a couple ways that we can keep our love tank full and make sure that we're loving ourselves so that we can love others. Because if I have $20, I can't give $20 or pay $20 to anybody else if I don't have it to give. Well, in the same way, if I don't have love, I can't give it. So I need to be able to receive love, from other people, from God, but also from myself in order to give love to those people around me. So one of the areas that I struggled with a lot was abuse. I would abuse myself. All of us have countless words, countless phrases, countless things that we talk to ourselves about. It's not out loud. Well, for most of us, it's not out loud. But most of us have self-talk that goes on all day long. And a lot of my self-talk, especially when I was a teenager and struggling with depression, a lot of my self-talk was abusive. I beat myself down. I said negative things to myself all the time. I treated myself like I thought I was some stupid Neanderthal that couldn't make fire. Just a stupid caveman that wouldn't stand a chance at surviving. Like I mentioned earlier, I thought I just wasn't good enough, and I would tell myself that. I would say, there's no way you can join that group. There's no way that you can be friends with those people. There's no way that you're gonna, get that job or be able to do this or be able to do that. You're not gonna be able to learn that instrument. I constantly beat myself down, and that constantly emptied my love tank. And I was constantly in a deficit where I didn't have love to give. I was bone dry. I had nothing. And through changing that around, I started being able to get filled up, being able to receive love. And as I received love, we're talking about this, as I received love from myself, I was able to start giving more love to other people. True love, selfless love. Because as I changed my self-talk around and stopped abusing myself, as I started building myself up, reminding myself who I am in God, I'm a child of God. I am the righteousness of God. I have peace. I have the ability to do this. I have the capability of learning this instrument or doing that. I have the capability and the capacity to learn, to grow, and to make that fire. I'm not a caveman. I'm not stupid. I am smart, and I have the mind of Christ. As I build myself up, I am filling myself with love. And out of that, just like I mentioned earlier, there's an overflow. I have love flowing into me. It's filling me up. My love tank is overflowing. And that pretty much just leaks out onto other people. It's a beautiful thing when I can see my growth, especially in the area of empathy. It's a beautiful thing when people come up to me and they might have a problem they want to talk about or complain about, and I'm able to share vulnerably with them an experience that I have had, something that I experienced, in the past that kind of ties into what they're talking about. And I see just by the way that their face lightens up, they might walk away with a smile and a lighter step. They might even thank me for taking the time to talk with them. But by saying what I said, vulnerably opening myself up and sharing an experience that I went through, I have been able to connect with people, and it's in a way that the people I'm connecting with, they feel that I understand them. They feel that I'm right there with them, that I've gone through what they're going through or something similar. It shows that I empathize with them, not to use the same word to define the word that I'm trying to define, but it shows that I'm walking in the fire with them. I've walked through it, and they feel a sense of comfort come from me when that happens. And like I mentioned, I can see it in their demeanor. They're a much lighter person when they walk away if I've effectively loved them in this area of empathy. And another thing I want to talk about, we're going to talk more about this later down the road, but I want to bring up boundaries. Boundaries are crucial. They may not be necessarily a love tank filler, but they are an anti-leak agent. Boundaries are not meant to keep people out. They're not meant to keep people away. They're not made for creating distance. Those are called walls. Walls are very negative. Walls give us a false sense of peace. And what they actually do, though, is they keep us from being able to receive love. They keep us from being able to connect to the people around us. They keep us from being able to receive what it is that we need to feel comfort in that relationship. Walls are like forest fires. They burn quick and they burn nearly everything in their path. There is some good that comes from forest fires, but by and large, a lot of people have to evacuate their homes. A lot of people are forced out of the areas that they know well. A lot of the areas where forest fires burn, they're unrecognizable afterward. And that's the same way that walls work in relationships. They burn relationships, and oftentimes after a wall has been put in place, there's little hope of that relationship coming back to looking how it was before. And instead, I'm talking about boundaries. Something that I put in place on myself. It's a limit I set on myself, such as I'm going to choose how much time I spend at my parents' house, or I'm going to choose how much time I tell my friend I have to, go get coffee together. Such as if I got an hour and a half that I can go get coffee with a friend, and I say, okay, I can get coffee with you for an hour, or I can spend an hour with you. That's a boundary I set on myself. And it's not up to the other person to even necessarily know about the boundary, but it's up to me to maintain and to be true to my word, to be true to myself with that boundary I set. So if I spend an hour with my friend and then I decide, I'm going to spend another half hour, well, I've just broken my boundary. I've just broken trust with myself, you could say. But instead, if I spend an hour with my friend and then say, hey, I've got to get going. I had a great time with you. I've maintained my ability to choose, and I've maintained being able to trust myself. And some other areas that boundaries, or some other ways that boundaries might look are, I'm going to choose how much disrespect I participate in. Or I'm going to choose whether or not I argue with you. I'm going to choose, this, or I'm going to choose that. It's all about operating inside limitations that I set on myself that allow me to maintain healthy self-love. And one more thing as we wrap this up, healthy self-love also involves physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual health. Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating good enough? Am I eating enough? Am I eating the right things that my body needs? Am I feeding my mind with good things that build me up? Or am I letting in a whole bunch of complaining and negative news and, just stuff that brings me down? Am I letting in depressing thoughts? If I'm depressed, it's because I'm thinking on depressing things. And am I getting into the Word? Am I getting into the Bible? Am I reading it? Am I hearing trusted ministers teach it accurately? Am I being challenged and challenging myself to keep growing? That's part of healthy self-love is constant growth. Anytime that I'm stagnant, I've stopped living. And healthy self-love involves all of these things working together. It involves being able to build myself up. It involves my self-talk. It involves being empathetic with people. It involves boundaries. It involves being able to take care of myself with adequate and healthy self-care. It involves just these what we often take for granted, little areas, but these little areas make a huge difference in my relationships. Because when I'm healthy, I can treat others from a place of being healthy. And when I have love for myself, I have love I can give others. Because when I love myself, I can love others as I love myself. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for watching. Once again, there's going to be a few questions to follow. And if you want to go deeper, join the Zoom group and, join me back here again.